Hey guys, and welcome back to Sonic and the Black Knight. We are moving to a new level now, and that is Molten Mine, which is actually one of my favourites. It's got good gimmicks, it looks pretty cool, it's full of fire, it's got great music, it's full of fire. Really, do I need to say anything else? I would be remiss if I didn't mention the music especially, because I think it's based on a track from an old game that Tommy Tallarico worked on. Let me look this up exactly.
I have actually heard rumblings of that, though I never actually looked further into it.
Let's have a look here. There is no trivia. I want to say it's like Black Hawk Down or something. It's got a helicopter on the cover, that's all I know.
Yeah, that does sound familiar to me. I haven't actually looked anything into that game at all, so maybe it was someone bullshitting me on a forum or something, I don't know, but yeah, I have definitely heard something like that before.
Well, we'll leave it there, I suppose. I promised you guys some trivia, so I am going to do this. Caliburn doesn't really have any lore and whatnot, and his main article seems to just be about him as a person, although if I go to it, maybe there'll be some proper trivia and whatnot. Scrolling down.
Yeah, well, obviously I can just point out, obviously we did mention that Caliburn is basically Excalibur. It's a complete spoiler, but hey.
Alrighty, Lancelot's sword is Arendite. I'm not sure if this has its own trivia, but I will scroll through to have a look and whatnot. Real world. Although Arendite is nowadays commonly claimed to be the sword of, well, the name of the sword of Lancelot, it was never referred to by this name in any surviving piece of Arthurian fiction. The name first appeared in a Middle English metrical romance dating around the 14th century about Sir Bevis of Hampton, in which it is used by Sir Bevis' son, Sir Guy. The sword, whose name is written Arendite or Aroundite, is described only briefly as a sword. That was Lancelot's Dulake, therewith he slew the fire drake. That is a sword Lancelot used to kill a dragon. The poem further describes Arendite as having a pommel made of carbuncle, and says that is the finest sword that ever existed. And we shall just move on, so I'm not talking about that. You can actually get other swords for the Knights of the Round Table, Gawain, Lancelot and Percival, who you can play as later in the game, that being Rubius, Morglay, and Gastiga, and also Seas. God, he's got a lot of these. Fuck. Man, I didn't realise it went so in depth here. Jesus Christ. But his ultimate weapon is Drake Gok, and I'm gonna have to see if there's any trivia surrounding that, because that's pretty sweet. So it is.
It's fine, we've got another 8 minutes or so for you to read off the names of swords.
This is the shit that gets me going, man. I love the sword trivia. The tomb Drake Gok, pronounced Durega, well, whatever, is Welsh, meaning red dragon, and is a reference to the heraldic charge of the flag of Wales. There you go. And let's see. Gawain's swords are Galantine. So let me just scroll down and get the history. Real world background. Much like the other sacred swords, despite Galantine being regarded as blah 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 blah, never given any real name in fiction, in the 15th century, Sir Thomas Malory's work, Le Morte d'Arthur, named Gawain's sword as Galantine. The Winchester manuscript of Malory was given a longer version of the Roman War, which contained another mention of the sword in that version of the text called Galantine. In Malory's source, the English alliterative Morte d'Arthur, the sword was given the name Galoof.
Yes.
I am Percival, Knight of the Round Table.
What about Percival, though?
Well, I mean, we'll see. Can you get to stuff about Percival's weapon before I kind of list off the actual sort of original Percival?
You know what, I'm going to leave that for you, Rishi. I've spoken enough so far, my voice was starting to give out, but
okay.
Great pick, bringing Blaze into this game, and especially setting her as the boss of Molten Mine. I love that kind of thematic, juxtaposition and whatnot, but she's probably the hardest and most annoying of the Knights of the Round to fight, so have fun with this. Richie, take it away, mate.
Agreed. So Percival, or Peredur as is also known, was first made famous by Chrétien de Troyes, he did 4 medieval romances and they're amazing. But he did Percival, the Story of the Grail, though he never actually finished it. Ultimately because Percival was the original hero in the quest for the Holy Grail.
Yes.
Before he was later replaced in later English and French literature by Galahad. Percival pretty much first appears in Chrétien de Troyes' Eric et Enid, and then he appears again in Cliche, and then finally he becomes the protagonist in Percival, the Story of the Grail.
Cool.
And unfortunately, he never actually, gets to find the Grail because the story was never actually finished.
Aww.
But that did create what was known as the Grail cycle. So lots of later writers went and tried to finish off the story. And that was pretty much the way that most medieval writers worked. Is they sort of sometimes they'd take a story and then effectively write their own fan fiction of the sequel, and that was normal back in the day.
I was actually well, first of all, actual fucking Sonic and non-Amy character shipping, that's rare for a Sonic game. And number two, I was gonna make up a stupid fucking Grail cycle joke in which the Grail comes out and it's not very good, and then they promise they'll do better for next time, and then it comes out and then early reviews are saying the manuscript's not all that, and then the whole thing starts all over again.
Now, to me, it sounded more like they get halfway through adapting it, and then they get one of these shitty anime-only endings that ruins everything.
Oh lordy! Or you're part of a car commercial in the case of the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon.
Yeah, that's gone over my head.
Hello, I am here, Merlina. I thought you weren't even part of the story. It's fine. I've just been in the background.
Yeah, we've forgotten about you for an hour or so now.
The thing is, when you have Caliburn as the sidekick character, you don't get that connection with Merlina that you did with Shara in Secret Rings. So I much prefer Shara over Merlina, but that's just how the story is written more than Merlina being a poor character per se.
Well, I think the dynamic between Sonic and Caliburn works better than that between Sonic and Shara, so I am kind of okay with relegating the mysterious kind of character to a secondary slot rather than just being the sidekick.
Fair dues, mate. And just before I forget, Percival's sword was La Vetine, and the history of this is, let's have a look here. Oh, wow, in the original, Percival was known to carry a lance rather than the sword. This might, however, have inspired La Vetine to design as a rapier, since it too has a long outer blade. Its name may originate from... Oh god, we're getting into fucking Norse mythology now. La Vetine, a mythical flaming sword from Norse mythology, also known as the Wounding Wand, the Staff of Destruction, or Damaging Twig. The elf Volond had forged a sword so lethal that it imperiled the very gods themselves. The sword made its wielder invincible in battle, could fight without being held, and was forged for the hand of a god.
Nice.
The Wounding Wand sounds like the most basic way of explaining what a song does.
Yep, or the Damaging Twig, my personal favourite. Loved the instrumental of Night of the Wind.
Yes.
Here. We haven't really given much attention to Night of the Wind as a main theme. It's actually one of my favourites, and I'd go so far as to call it underrated because it doesn't get much play along the likes of fucking Live and Learn, Open Your Heart, and so on.
It's probably my second favourite of the vocal themes, just behind Live Life.
Huh.
But then Live Life is my favourite song ever, so take that how you will.
Yeah, I would probably agree with you on that. Live Life is, I think, one of the best lyrical Sonic songs that's ever been. It's just wonderful. And I would say that, in general, all of the vocal tracks in Black Knight are really awesome. I'd say that probably my least favourite is Fight the Night, but that is just because it is quite repetitive in the I will fight the night. The rest of it is great. Yeah, the rest of it is great, and just honestly, I just find it a really fun soundtrack in general. Also, this fight is quite hilarious.
Yes.
It's quite fun. A bit challenging at times because it's all about timing, but I feel we should point out that many, well, at least a couple, reviewers thought that this was definitely the end of the game. It's not.
Bye, bitch.
Wow, holy shit, I've never seen that boss done that fast. Flame, you're amazing.
Well, the trick there is perfect hits. You tell is when the sword glows. As soon as the sword glows, that's your prompt to just swing it. And as long as you keep doing that, you're not going to run out of the energy. So you can just keep on wailing him until he's dead.
Now, that's good, because if you let the fight go on long enough, you will eventually reach a phase where he, Arthur starts to fake out his attacks, and the timing becomes very tricky. I know I actually died a few times before I managed to get this down pat on my first way through, but Jesus, that was hype. That was GDQ levels.
Not quite, but you know.
immortal. You cannot defeat me.
Haha, but I won though.
Yeah, like, we literally did just defeat you, and it was kind of embarrassing showing on your part, buddy.
Sonic, when I defeat you, it will be like shoving this sword into the sheath, I promise you that.
Yeah. Also note how the Black Knight, Arthur, who's black in cutscenes, is actually golden in actual gameplay. It's a little bit strange.
It's
but
a
there we go.
fucking metaphor, mate. It means he's fallen from grace.
'Tis true. But still, he dead.
Sonic just bisected what is apparently a human being.
Fuck yeah, I killed a man!
I won!
Yay, regicide!
We'll see you guys next time for the conclusion of the story. Come back after the credits.